What up, dog? Welcome to another episode of Opinionated. This is the pushback version, uh, but welcome to Opinionated. So, if this is your first time listening to an episode or seeing an episode of Opinionated, welcome. If you've been rocking with me, if you know what I'm about, if you checked out previous episodes, man, welcome back. Not only welcome back, but thank you for supporting. Thank you for rocking with me. You know, uh, it is greatly appreciated, and your continued support will be always appreciated. Trust that. So today's episode is about Xmas, right? And I'm gonna get into that also. So first off, I would like to start this by saying happy birthday to the sun. You know, good luck, Brian. That's the first thing I would like to say. Happy birthday to the sun. You know, I'm gonna get into that because I don't mean what some of y'all may think that I mean. Happy birthday to the sun, no. But the first thing I wanted to get into is, today is the culmination of the day that it's the festival season. You know, it is we are in the season of one of the longest standing festival traditions known in America for real, and that is the the time when we lie to our children about Santa. Now, I told you yesterday, I told you yesterday, do not have your children around during today's episode because you and they probably more so the parents. The parents is going to be more mad at me than the kids will. Kids, have an incredible elasticity. They'll snap back more often than not. I've researched the psychology of lying to your children about Santa. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, the research shows that it's really not hurting them in regards to the whole blowing up of a myth. That's not where it hurts them, right? It actually may hurt them briefly in how much they trust and believe but it's not really going to hurt them in regards to just belief in general until they get older and they realize certain other truths, or they get older and they watch this episode of AM Opinionated and they learn certain things in regards to that. Now, before I get to that, my first opinion, I got to get to these Lakers. My Lake Show play today. Everybody, in the event that you don't know, like I was walking through Walmart. During the end of the last NBA season, which was like 2 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? It feels like the end of the NBA season was like 2 weeks ago. You did. But I'm in Walmart. It was during the NBA playoffs. I'm Laker geared out, and I'm coming through the line. And I'm literally Laker geared out, like not just Laker geared out. I got on my Laker everything. You know what I'm saying? If I felt like it, I would have walked around with my Laker pillow. If I just felt like carrying the pillow around, or if I, felt like being harassed by Walmart security for thinking that I might have stole the Laker pillow. Anyway, I'm all the way Lakered out, and I'm coming through the line, and buddy at the checkout was like, "So, are you a Lakers fan?" Nah, my team is the Kings. You know what I'm saying? What do you think? What do you think? Am I a Lakers fan? Come on, man. Of course I'm a Lakers fan. Anyway, I got to get on. Shout out to the Lakers. I'm sorry, my bad. Shout out to the defending NBA champion Lakers. You dig? Shout out to the defending NBA champion Lakers. I don't give a damn how long the season was. They won. You know, I don't care how many asterisks y'all put on this championship. Bron got that done. That's all. That's all I know. That's all I care about. You know what I'm saying? That's all I know. That's all I care about. Now, back to Christmas, aka lion season for parents. Now, here's my thing about that. Right? While the psychology, and I'm talking about westernized psychology, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even talking about black psychology at this time. Westernized psychology is going to tell you that there's really not any long-term effects that will come from lying to your children about Santa, right? But I believe there are long-term effects, and I'm gonna get into that. But even westernized psychology will say that the short-term effects will cause your children to not really believe what you as a parent says as being reality once they come to the realization of knowing or understanding that Santa is not real, you know, that it was a plot to get them to be good all year, you know what I'm saying, that culminated in them getting some gifts regardless of how they acted, right? So that is what we got going on in regards to the immediate psychology of parents lying to their kids. Now, my only thing and why I keep bringing it up is the fact that not only am I in the know about the history of whatever you want to call this cat, you know, Santa, Saint Nick, Saint Nicholas, Pell's Nickel, God, whatever you want to call him, you dig? I'm gonna explain all that too. Whatever you want to call him, I understand the history of it, you know, and I understand the history of not only Santa Claus but the history of Christmas to begin with, you know, the history of XMas. So it's like, my thing is, if you're gonna perpetuate this lie to your children, right? Then now here's one thing though, you know, like there's some parents that go all out with it. Like they go all out with the perpetuation of this lie, right? They lie to their kids so much. They say that 85% of parents go to the extent of not only, my mama did it too. You know, my mama took me to the mall. You know, I went to the Landing and Bannister Mall. You know, some of y'all don't have any clue about what Bannister Mall is. Anyway, so I went to the Landing, I went to Bannister Mall, and my mama sat me on the lap of some strange white dude, you dig? And I rattled off all this stuff that I wanted, that my mama is listening to, and she's like, Atari racetrack. All right, got it. You know, and I ended up getting clothes. What the hell? Yo, so number one, if you're gonna lie to your kids, at least get them something that they ask Santa for. You know what I'm saying? Don't have your baby asking for a PlayStation 5 and you get them a sweater. Hey, that is just wrong. If there's no other reason why kids will stop believing in Santa, they'll think Santa is full of shit because, hey man, I was good. I asked your ass for a PlayStation 5 and I got a box of sweaters and clothes. Hey man, that ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? So especially black kids, we don't play that. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got at least, out of 365 days, you got at least about 280 good days out of me. You know what I'm saying? And for those 280 good days, damn it, I deserve an Xbox 5. Get that to me, Santa. And then I don't get the Xbox 5. Why am I going to be good next year? You know, all these threats of Because this is why parents do it. Parents use Santa as another behavioral tool that, you know, will sometimes take the place of corporal punishment. So it's like, sit down. No, I'm being bad. Sit down, or I'm gonna tell Santa. Ooh, you gonna tell who? Santa? Oh man, let me sit down and be good. I cannot afford for her to tell Santa. You know, now why are they telling Santa? You know, why are they telling Santa? Why is it the threat of telling Santa that has these kids sitting down, and not the threat of either A, sit down because I told you to sit down because I'm your mama. Sit down. And they sit down. Or sit down, or else I'm gonna tell your daddy. Why Santa got more power than daddy and mama? How is that? Why is that? Why is it that parents don't want the power of Santa for themselves? Why don't you claim the power of Santa for yourself? You know what I'm saying? That's like having He-Man sword and not wanting to claim the power. You know what I'm saying? That's like having a magic wand and never using it. You know, you give the power over to some fat white dude. You did. When you can claim the power for yourself and have your kids sit down because you told them to sit down. Have your kids sit down because if you don't sit down, I'm gonna tell your daddy. And then they like, oh, you gonna tell who? You gonna tell daddy? Oh, let me be cool. Let me chill, because that's the last thing I want her to do is tell daddy. You know, pops don't play. You know, instead of some mythical figure that will not ever let you see him except at the mall. How come you ain't never seen Santa on Christmas? Is my man that light-footed that his fat ass can get in and out of your house without any child suspecting? Them kids, listen, I can't talk about all kids. I can talk about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will go to bed, but I'm up peeking, which is kind of how I found out. You know what I'm saying? Because I saw my grandpa under the tree. I'm like, Grandpa, what you doing? Nothing. Go back to bed, or else Santa ain't gonna get you nothing. I literally see you putting gifts under the tree. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what are you doing? You know, kids is not as stupid as y'all think. You know what I'm saying? They figure things out, and they figure things out better. Like, they'll figure things out better from somebody that they trust. You know what I'm saying? They'll believe things that come from people that they trust more so than people that they don't trust. They'll believe a doctor telling them about the tooth fairy, or a dentist telling them about the tooth fairy more so than they would the pharmacist. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll believe the dentist because dentists deal with teeth. So of course the dentist knows about the tooth fairy. You know what this dude giving out medication? What do you know about the tooth fairy? He don't know nothing about tooth fairy. He don't deal with teeth. You know. So it depends on the source. You know, they are more likely to believe in the existence of mythical things that fly from, say, a pilot than they would a Uber driver. You drive, partner. I'm talking about dragons. You dig? You don't know nothing about no dragons. You drive a car. I'm gonna believe this pilot of this F-14. You dig? I'm not gonna believe you. You don't know anything. All right. So my whole thing, if you're gonna lie to your kids, keep the lie 100. Like, but and again, there's parents that go to the extent, not only do they take their child once or sometimes twice to see some fat white dude at a mall that you don't know if this cat is a child molester or not. You know what I'm saying? Some of these malls are not. Have you ever seen Bad Santa? You did? That shit is real in places. In a pinch, they'll hire anybody to go sit up there and ho to your kids. You know. But at the same time, some parents go to the extent of, like, they in cahoots with the post office. Like, the post office have stamps from Santa, you know, from the North Pole. It's like a North Pole stamp. Really? And then they got the news media in on it, tracking Santa. What the? So I'm gonna get to this whole, seemingly omnipresence, omnipotent nature of Santa here in a minute. You know what I'm saying? But stop lying to your kids for real. And if you're not gonna stop lying to your kids, quit allowing your kids to come ask me, because sooner or later I'm gonna end up telling them. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be, and again, I'm not crushing the dreams of 5-year-olds. I'm crushing the dreams of parents, because you can no longer use Santa as a parental tool. If you use so parents that do this spend about 85% of their time whittling the lie of Santa to keep their kids in line. If you use some of that time far more efficiently, how about you use some of that time to go over your baby homework with them? How about you use that time to play with them? How about you use some of that time to talk to them? How about you use that time to read to them? You know what I'm saying? How about you use that time to let them read to you? You know what I'm saying? Instead of perpetuating the lie of Santa, do something that's going to be productive for your baby in life. You know what I'm saying? Read to your baby. Have your baby read to you. Play with them. Talk to them. Listen to them. How about that? How about spend 85% of your time listening to your baby? Instead of perpetuating this punk ass lie about some fat white dude breaking an entry. You know what I'm saying? That's not cool, in my opinion, in my notorious opinion. So, all right. Moving on. So all this for real is today in human past, but I'm gonna get to some other things. So, because it's culminating into something. I'm trying to hit as many of the Xmas, Christmas myths and misunderstandings as I possibly can think of in one episode, right? And so again, I'm just trying to get what I got up here out there to the people. So, and that's another one, Xmas versus Christmas, right? So for a long time, Christians were up in arms, and some of them still are. Those that are not really in the know, you got a lot of Christians that are still up in arms about the fact that some people call Christmas Xmas, thinking that it is offensive. That Xmas is actually derivative of disrespect to Jesus Christ, right? When actually it's not. So Christmas and Xmas literally mean the same thing. Like, they really do. They really mean the same thing. It's just Xmas is a far less used term in United States because you're not Greek. You know what I'm saying? Like Greeks in America would probably understand this far better than people who are not Greek or don't study the history of things, right? But so X is the symbol word for CHI in Greek, right? And then they added mas or mass to it. You know what I'm saying? So it was actually XTE, Christ, Christos, goes into Christos, mas, so it will be Christos mas, Christmas. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not an X through Christ. You know what I'm saying? It literally means Christ in another language. You know what I'm saying? It literally means Christmas in another language. You know what I'm saying? So it's not disrespectful to say Christmas. I mean, it's not disrespectful to say Xmas instead of Christmas. It's actually just another way of saying Christmas in a whole nother language. You know what I'm saying? There's signs and there's symbols, and they truly are for the conscious mind. Because if you are unconscious of these things, then you're going to start to say things like, oh, that's disrespectful. It's not really disrespectful. You just don't know. It's not disrespectful. It's outside of your sphere of knowledge and understanding. You know what I'm saying? So once things come within your sphere of knowledge and or understanding, then you may hold the same beliefs, you may not, but at least now you're knowledgeable of what it is and what it isn't. You know what I'm saying? Xmas is not a diss to Christians or Christmas. It's just another way of saying it. It's the way of saying it in Greek. You know what I'm saying? So Xmas is not negative. But I have to say this again, and I say it almost every day. If you do not understand racism and white supremacy, what it is and how it functions, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you. Let me say that again. If you don't understand racism and white supremacy and racism, everything else that you think you understand, what it is and how it functions, that's an important part to that saying. If you don't understand racism and white supremacy, what it is and how the many ways that it functions, everything else you think you understand, it's just confusing you. So there's Santa Claus, there's St. Nicholas, there's Kris Kringle, there's Pales Nickel, there's St. Nick, there's those are the ones that I know. So Pales Nickel, St. Nicholas, all of them come from St. Nicholas. So let's start with St. Nicholas. Who was St. Nicholas? He was a patron saint of a lot of different shit. You know what I'm saying? Like St. Nicholas was the patron saint of people in the street, prostitutes, a lot of different things, you know what I'm saying? And all that meant, when people try to give kind of a comical or negative connotation to St. Nicholas being the patron saint of prostitutes, all that saying is that saints watch out for everybody, you know what I'm saying? Not just those that are considered good, you know what I'm saying? But, it even, so you're not just the patron saint of the wealthy or those that pay their tithes or those that do all these things that are considered moral or good in society. You gotta look out for people you gotta look out for the poor. You gotta look out for the less fortunate. You gotta look out for prostitutes. You gotta look out for criminals. You gotta look out for everybody. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look out for everybody if you're gonna be a saint. You can't be a saint of just people who follow your moral code. You gotta be a saint of those that you're trying to help. So some of the things that he was a patron saint of was a patron saint of prostitutes. Now, it was said that one of the main things that led Saint Nicholas to embody the image of what later became Santa Claus was because first of all, Saint Nicholas grew up in a wealthy household. His parents was wealthy, you know what I'm saying? And so he grew up with money. You dig? Like, how else is my man gonna have a fur coat? I mean, that's literally what he got on. My man got on a fur coat. You dig? Fur coats ain't never been cheap. As far as I understand, fur coats ain't never been cheap. You dig? So St. Nicholas grew up with money. His parents had money. As he got older, he got wind of a man who had he was a formerly wealthy man who had gotten swindled out of all of his wealth, right? And so he was poor. And he was trying to marry his daughters off. He had 3 daughters. He was trying to marry them off. And so that they could have good lives, right? Well, because he was now poor, he could not pay the dowry for his daughters, right? Because during that time, if you had to pay a dowry, the wife had to pay the husband to marry him or to marry her, right? So, if you didn't pay that dowry, you wasn't about to get this husband. You did, period, point blank. And so the father did not have, and oftentimes it was the father that paid the dowry. But the father did not have the means or the funds to pay this dowry. Well, St. Nicholas got a hold of this information and took some of his wealth and put a bag of gold coins, tossed a bag of gold coins inside of the first daughter or the oldest daughter's window, the daughter that was set to be married the soonest. And so the father was able to pay her dowry. Well, when it was time for the second daughter, actually it was like it was either the next night or a couple of nights later. Matter of fact, it was the next night. It was the next night. he put St. Nicholas was said to have thrown a second bag of gold coins inside of the window, right, for the second daughter, right? Her dowry was able to be paid. So now the father is like, hold on, you know, what's going on here? You know, I need to hang out and, you know, see what this gold coin fairy is doing. You know what I'm saying? I need to, you know, maybe it's a little something extra for pops, you know. But St. Nicholas waited a couple of days, and a few days later tossed a third bag of gold coins in for the third daughter. Well, on this third bag night, the father saw him, runs out, thanks him, you know, and St. Nicholas promptly said for him to keep that between the two of them. You know, he didn't want anybody to know what it was that he was doing. Now, why that was, I don't know. But yeah, that kind of began the story of St. Nicholas. Now, the story of other names that were attached to Santa Claus, Pelsnickel was a German. There's a couple of them. Matter of fact, Pelsnickel and Kris Kringle were actually German. Pelsnickel was Pels meant fur. Pels meant fur, and nickel was Nicholas. So it was the person Nicholas who was in fur. That's Pelsnickel. Kris Kringle was, you know, that's a little different. So when you get to Kris Kringle, that's also from like German farmers that was in the United States, up in Pennsylvania, I believe. So you had Pennsylvania German farmers who celebrated what was called, okay, so it's Kris Kringle, so it's Christ, hold up, what is Christ Kindle, right? Christ Kindle, right? Well, like pretty much everything else, you know, Christ Kringle, how the Germans would say it, and I'm probably mangling it, but when English hearers heard it, you know, they heard Kris Kringle, you know, so Christ Grindel turned into Kris Kringle, just like Sinterklaas turned into Santa Claus, right? So you had early Dutch people who decided to honor Saint Nicholas with like festivals. They would dance and drink and have all this fun, you know. And so you had neighboring English speakers, right, that saw all the fun that the Dutch was having and decided to adopt that particular festival and include it in their Christmas celebration, right? Well, the thing was the Dutch kind of said certain things kind of fast, right? So they said they were saying St. Nicholas, you know, but when they said St. Nicholas, it came out as Sinterklaas. 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 So when these English speakers heard Sinterklaas, which the Dutch was trying to say St. Nicholas, it's coming out real fast. It comes out sounding like Sinterklaas, and it ended up being in English Santa Claus. So that's where you got Santa Claus from St. Nicholas, because apparently the Dutch speak faster than English can hear. But English speakers have historically done that. They've done that with the African language. They've done that with a variety of different things. And so it's not necessarily what was said, it's what they heard, you know. So, you know, even the transition from St. Nicholas to Santa Claus was determined by the perception of English speaking people, right? So Santa Claus turned, or St. Nicholas turned into Santa Claus. to English speakers, and Kris Kringle came from Christ Kindle, right? So that's how those things came to be. Now, Christ Kindle was the celebration of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So that was the German celebration of, it meant, like, literally meant Christ child, right? So Christkindl meant Christ child, right? Now, how that got translated into Kris Kringle and Kris Kringle got attached to Santa Claus goes to something all the way different. So earlier I was talking about how psychologically, from westernized psychology, having your baby believe in the mythical lie of Santa Claus is not necessarily harmful to them psychologically. Well, from an Afrocentric standpoint, it's critically harmful. It is critically harmful for Black children to believe in the myth, and Black parents to perpetuate the myth of Santa Claus, right? Here's why. So somebody tell me that they've never seen the similarities story-wise or pictorially between God, the depiction of God, and Santa Claus. Tell me you've never seen it. So the painting of this depiction of God reaching out to, what is it, Adam? Reaching out to Adam, right? Is a large white man with a big beard, white hair. Santa, big white dude, big white beard, long white hair. That's just the pictorial, just warming up, right? Let's check out some other similarities between the depictions of God and the depictions of Santa, right? First off, both of them have a propensity towards children. Let's just start out with that little thing. Both have a propensity towards children, right? Now, let's get to this. God, omnipotent, omnipresent, everywhere, all-knowing, all of that, right? What is it? Psalms 147:5. Great is the Lord, mighty in power. Great is the Lord and mighty in power. His understanding has no limit. If that's not omnipotence, I don't know what is, right? How's that translate to Santa? He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. But he can travel around the world and stop at everybody's house in less than 24 hours. That's damn near omnipresence. You know what I'm saying? For Buddy to have presents for every child who was nice in the world and be able to get to all these nice kids' houses around the world in less than 24 hours, man, that's omnipresence almost. Man, you know, but let's dispense with the omnipresence. Go back to the omnipotence. For somebody to be able to see you when you're sleeping, see every child in the world, not just you, to see every child in the world when they are sleeping, and know when every child is awake, to know when every child in the world, who's been bad, who's been good, what is that? A naughty list. What is that in accordance to God? The book of life, maybe. I mean, maybe. Like, God has the book of life. Santa has his naughty and nice list. What's the difference? You know, the naughty and nice list determine whether you get presents. The book of life determine whether you go to heaven. And here's a point that I didn't bring up earlier. So God has the devil, God above, devil below. God has the devil, and they just had to add a racist element to it. They just had to add. They had to add a element to Santa Claus that you kind of had to dig for a little bit, but they had to add a racist element to the story of Santa Claus, which is the sub story of Black Peter. So who is Black Peter? Black Peter was, there's a lot of different stories as to who Black Peter was to Santa Claus, but one of the more prominent stories, I'm just tell you all that I can remember of all of them. So Black Peter was honestly, he's depicted as a slave or a servant to Saint Nicholas, right? A Spanish slave. So he was a slave that was in Spain, right? And so remember that this is all originally coming from Dutch, you know what I'm saying? Which was one of the original 5 countries that participated mainly in the attacking of Africa and the transatlantic slave trade. So let's just start right there. And a lot of slaves were enslaved from Africa to Spain, right? So more likely than not, the story of Black Peter was a Moor who was a slave in Spain, right? And he accompanied Saint Nicholas. Now, the story goes that Black Peter would carry around. Really, the story goes that that Saint Nicholas, Santa Claus, however you want to depict him, would be the one that would give the nice children their gifts, and Black Peter was the one that gave out that would pop kids on the head with a stick, or that would give them coal, right? And there's even stories that Black Peter was the one that if you were really naughty, he took you, put you in a sack, and took you with him and sent you back to Spain. So basically kidnapped you and put you back into slavery if you were naughty. So that's the story that was being told to children. If you're not good, Black Peter's gonna get you, and you're gonna get sent to Spain. Black Peter gonna take you if you're not good. So not only are you not gonna get the presents that Santa is gonna give you, Black Peter is gonna take you. You know, so God has the devil, and Santa has Black Peter. Just another one. Why both of their houses north? So God lives in heaven and Santa Claus lives in the North Pole. Can't get to neither one. You know what I'm saying? They ain't been able to find neither one. You know, it is a special place. It is a magical place. You just can't go there. It's like plans are going to Atlanta, Vegas, Cali. You know, you can't just plan to go. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be like, hey, pack your stuff, man. We going to heaven. You can't just do that. Hey, pack your stuff. We going to the North Pole. You can't just do that. You know, so yet another similarity between how they trying to portray Santa Claus as God, right? What else? So God has angels. Santa has magic elves. Are you starting to see the similarities? Are you starting to see how it's being perpetuated that Santa is God? You know, now it's all based, whether you're talking about God, whether you're talking about Santa, it's all based on belief. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in Santa? You know, that's all it boils down to is belief. You know, now here's how it go. So Santa, this is the culmination of everything I've been talking about. Santa is just the foundation that will lead children to believe in God when they get older. That's it. That's the foundation. Santa is for kids. And if you believe in Santa as a kid, if I get you to believe in Santa as a kid, it's gonna be easier for you to believe in this white, in this white dude with white hair and a white beard when you get older as being God, because you believed in Santa as a child, and they look similar. You know, the depictions of Santa and the depiction of God, same depiction. You know, so if you don't teach your babies different, if you don't teach your babies what the real thing about God is, about Santa is, that Santa Claus is not real. This dude is not flying around the damn world in 24 hours. He's not. Stop lying to your kids. You know what I'm saying? There's no Black Peter that's going to snatch your babies up and take them if they are naughty. You know what I'm saying? He don't know when your babies is sleeping. He don't know when your babies is awake. He don't know if they've been bad or good. That is you, parents. Seize the power of Santa for yourself. You dig? Seize the power of Santa for yourself. Quit giving it to some fat white dude breaking and entering. That's all it is. He's a criminal. Santa is a criminal. You dig? He's not real. He's not real. I told you, keep your babies away from this episode. I told you that yesterday. If you got your babies in earshot of this episode, it's your fault. If they now know that Santa is not real. Santa is not real. He cannot see you when you're sleeping. He cannot see you when you're awake. He don't know whether you've been bad, whether you've been good. He don't know nothing. And if you ask him for a PlayStation 5 and your parents ain't got their stimulus check, you are not getting the PlayStation 5. Believe that. Period. Period, point blank. So again, I'm gonna end with the whole, I don't mean end the episode, I'm talking about end this segment on the fact that Santa and God both historically love children, right? But all the whitewashed myth of Santa is doing is gearing your baby to believe in a white God as he gets older. You know, in the hierarchy of white people, white God, because if they associate God as being white, then everything else and everybody else that is white is also God-like. Thus, I need to listen to white people. Like, I'm telling you, I told everybody yesterday, if you don't want your baby knowing, if your baby is still at the impressionable age and you've been lying to your baby about Santa, I told him not to listen to this episode. I told him that yesterday. Don't listen to it. I'm telling you, because I'm telling facts today. I'm telling facts. You know, I broke down all the different Santas. You know, I'm telling facts today. So if you want your baby to still be impressionable about and you still want to use Santa as a disciplinary tool, this ain't the episode you might want to have your babies close to, because I'm telling the truth, right? And so yeah, I mean, it just don't make no sense to me why parents wouldn't want to seize the power that they give to Santa and claim it for themselves, you know, and instead of your child being not scared of Santa, but scared of you telling Santa because Santa might put you on the naughty list. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, why not seize that power for yourself and have your baby sit down because you told him to sit down? Or, like I said, why not have your baby sit down because you told him if you don't sit down, I'm going to tell your daddy. I'm going to tell your daddy if you don't sit down. Instead of, all right, You be good, or I'm gonna tell Santa. Ooh, shh, she talking about telling Santa. You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling. Why can't you get that kind of respect? Why can't your husband or the father of your child get that respect, claim that power, and do that, and have that kind of claim it for yourself? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand this. It don't make no sense to me. But so now, so I done got on Santa, and now I'm about to get off Santa, and I'm gonna get on one of the very first things I said at the show, which was happy birthday to the sun, right? Happy birthday to the sun. So I don't mean the sun that some of y'all may think I mean. I don't mean S-O-N. I mean S-U-N. So the origins of Christmas don't go back to Spain, don't go back to Dutch, don't go back to Rome, don't go back to Greek. They go back 6,000 years to Kemet, not Egypt, Kemet, right? It goes back about 6,000 years to Kemet. Kemet, once the Greeks and the Romans began to conquer Egypt, the name changed, as with everything else, right? So why do we hang Christmas lights? Why is Hanukkah considered the festival of lights? What do lights have to do with Christmas? You know what I'm saying? Because the Africans understood that everything that was above happened below. So everything that was going on above that we cannot necessarily explain, we turned into a story, right? And so it would become the story of the Black Madonna. You know, it will become the story of Asar, Aset, and Heru. You know, that would turn into the story of Jesus later on. You know, thousands and thousands of years later, it would end up being the story of Jesus. But it originally was the story of Asar, Aset, and Heru, right? So, and you can, that's going to be for another episode, going through the step-by-step similarities between the two and how the African origins of the Bible go back thousands of years, you know, but that's for another episode, not necessarily for this one. But the ancient Africans understood that there were celestial things that was going on that affected the earth, right? And so we hang Christmas lights, and we hang them all around the tree, and it culminates in this in the brightest light at the top, right? So people will put a really, really bright light. It'll be like all these little lights going around the tree. And then you get to the top of the tree, and it is the big light, you know. So at the which story, the one I'm saying I'm gonna tell later on another episode about the similarities between the religion. I don't have time to do that this episode. This episode has taken almost an hour as it is. So because that's gonna be a whole nother hour just going over that if I break that down in this one. But I'm definitely gonna do it. I'm definitely gonna do it because it'll be a part of a human past, because that's what this whole episode is today in human past. You know, this whole episode is that. So you get to the brightest ornament on your Christmas tree, which is the sun, which is a symbol or representation of the sun, right? And why is that? Why is all these lights culminating to this bright star in the sky? Well, the sun. Okay, so I gotta tell this like astronomical thing. So it's the sun technically is not the brightest star in the sky. It's actually Sirius A, but it is the brightest star that the Earth can see. You know what I'm saying? So it's the brightest star that we see in the sky is the sun. And it is part of the winter solstice. So the Africans knew that during the winter solstice, you come upon the shortest day of the year, just like during the summer solstice, you come upon the longest day of the year. So the days get shorter. You got like 19 hours of night, you know what I'm saying, that leads up to the winter solstice. And then beginning on December the 25th, the days begin to increase incrementally, you know, over time, right? Like 1 minute a day or something like that, incrementally over the next however many days until you get to the summer solstice and you get to the longest day of the year. Well, the 25th, December 25th, is when the Africans would say that the sun, S-U-N, was born, right? So the sun was born on the 25th. Over years, over centuries, over millennia, the story of the sun being born was turned into a story about Savior, right? Because it's the story of the son being born on December 25th to a virgin. The virgin is Virgo, it being born in a stable which was Sagittarius. All these things are celestial, you know what I'm saying? Because I challenge any Christian to prove to me that, number one, that you know precisely the year that Jesus was born. I dare you to tell me definitively, without a shadow of a doubt, I dare you to tell me what year he was born. So if you don't know what year Jesus was born, it's nowhere in the Bible that says what year Jesus was born. There's nowhere in the Bible that you're going to find the date that suggests when Jesus was born. So how'd you come up with December 25th? It says that Jesus could have been born anywhere from 4 to, 6 BC? Give me your date. I dare you. Give me your date. You know what I'm saying? That proves that it was not taken from an African understanding of celestial things, you know, of a S-U-N being born on December 25th and not the Son of God, you know, and how this story of a black Madonna and child got lighter and lighter and whiter and whiter until it was completely washed white and became the Virgin Mary and Jesus born in a manger instead of Aset birthing Haru to avenge Asar born in Sagittarius in Virgo. Yeah, so I'm gonna wait on that. I mean, listen, Commissions and Cushites have been all but pushed completely out of respectable commentary in regards to human past. And again, I call it human past for the same reason, you know, because oftentimes world history does not accurately depict human past. It just doesn't. Because if world and you know, specifically American history accurately depicted human past, black people would not be second-class citizens. Never would have been. You know, we would have been heralded as the kings, queens, gods, and goddesses that we've always been, you know, and not relegated to second-class citizens who didn't do anything for this culture, you know, who didn't do anything for the world, you know. We wouldn't have been the race of people who allowed them to again trick our babies in trick our babies geographically into believing that Kemet is not in Africa, that Egypt is not in Africa, that it's in this mythological place called the Middle East. The Middle East is made up. There is no such thing as the Middle East. Egypt is in Africa. Kemet always has been, but they will try to trick your baby into believing that Columbus discovered America, Lincoln really gave a fuck about the slaves, and uh and that Egypt is in the Middle East. None of which is true. Okay. Have I gotten everything out that I wanted to get out? Stop lying to your babies. Support small and black businesses, man. COVID-19 is killing more than people. It's killing businesses. It's killing dreams. So support small and black businesses. Check me out. So I will be on the air for the next 7 days. You know, I'll be going into the weekend because it is Kwanzaa time, right? So yeah, it's Kwanzaa time. And so and don't get it twisted. Like I'm only gonna tell facts about something that is whitewashed like Christmas and Santa Claus. I'm gonna keep it 100 about Kwanzaa too. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is, and it's not what it's not. And I'm gonna keep it 100 about what it is and what it's not. Kept it real about Christmas, you know. I'm gonna keep it real about Kwanzaa. You know, was a story of Christmas based off of originally a dude that helped people out and gave kids presents? Yeah. Was it real? Yeah, probably. You know, is it funny that he was the patron saint of prostitutes? Not really. I mean, yeah, it is a little bit, but I mean, like, not really, because, like I said, you have to be watchful and mindful over everybody, not just over the ones that you deem moral, right? And so, come the 26th, we're gonna start on Kwanzaa. So the 26th is Umoja, right? So we're gonna start on Umoja. Come the 26th, the day after Christmas, and dang, it's tomorrow. Like, I'm talking about Christmas, but I keep forgetting that today is actually Christmas because I don't celebrate Christmas. I celebrate Kwanzaa. So I'm gonna start the Kwanzaa episode tomorrow. Hopefully you enjoy it. Again, seize the moment. You might not make it through the whole day. You know, support small and black businesses. Check out the display on 18th Divine. The brothers from the KC chapter of the Black United Front have been working hard on this. So check that out. And tomorrow, check out the Black United Front KC's Kwanzaa celebration. So that begins tomorrow too. I'll be running AM or Notoriously Opinionated at offsetting times, so it does not run into the NBuff celebration of Kwanzaa. But I think they'll get started later on in the day, and so I'll get started early in the day. So yeah. So I hope you appreciated this episode. I hope you learned something. I hope I didn't lose too many viewers. But I'm gonna keep it notoriously opinionated. Period. You know, I'm gonna keep it notoriously opinionated. So to those of y'all that hung out with me, I appreciate you. Trying to get 1,000 subscriptions. That's my goal for next year. My goal for next year is by the end of the year next year to have 1,000 subscriptions to my YouTube channel, Notoriously Opinionated, and so I can finally get on the mobile live app, you know, and get y'all some different perspectives of live content, you know, because that's my whole reason for why I want to do it, you know. So check me out, Notoriously Opinionated on YouTube. Check out my weekly podcast, Areas of Human Activity, on Spotify. If you type in Areas, I'm like one of the first ones that's gonna pop up. Areas of Human Activity on Spotify podcasts, right? So until tomorrow, man, seize the moment. Peace. I'm out.